Imagine a town meeting about a leaking roof. Water is dripping into the library. The chairs are wet. One bucket is already full. Then someone hands everybody a name tag. Tenant, owner, old, young, religious, not religious. Suddenly nobody is talking about the roof. They are arguing about whose name tag makes their opinion count. This is how identity politics is usually drawn. A room full of labels, followed by a small fire. But that picture starts too late. Before the labels became weapons, they were clues. Clues about who kept getting wet and who kept being told the roof was fine. So what is identity politics actually doing? Why can it reveal a problem that everyone else missed? And why can the same tool turn a person into a box? Start with the word identity. It can mean a social category with rules about who belongs. It can also mean a part of yourself that carries pride, history, or consequence. Usually it means both at once. You do not walk around as one label. You are a stack of them. Family, job, language, region, religion, race, sex, generation, football team. If Sunday has gone badly, most of these labels stay quiet most of the time. They become political when people use one to explain a shared problem, organize a group, or make a claim on power. That is the basic engine. Identity politics turns a category into a political we. One influential early use of the phrase came from the Combahee River Collective in 1977. They were black feminists, many of them lesbians and socialists. They faced a very specific problem. Anti-racist movements often treated sexism as a side issue. Feminist movements often treated race and class as side issues, so black women could enter either room and still disappear. The collective called politics rooted in their own lived conditions identity politics. This was not a request for a prettier name tag. It was a refusal to remain the footnote in somebody else's liberation plan. And it was not simply our group versus everyone. Their statement also called for solidarity and broad economic change. The identity was a starting point for diagnosis, not the final border of the movement. That origin matters, because the tool was built to expose a blind spot. Picture 10 workers under the same leaking roof. 8 get umbrellas. 2 are told to stand near the bucket. If each complaint is treated as a private annoyance, the pattern stays invisible. But the moment those 2 compare notes, the pattern lights up. That is the first useful job of identity politics. It converts lonely experiences into public evidence. The second job is solidarity. One person whispering, "This keeps happening," is easy to ignore. A group saying it together is harder to file under bad luck. The third job is political shorthand. Groups need a quick way to name who is affected, what happened, and why the existing rules missed it. A label can do that faster than a 40-page report, although, inevitably, someone will still write the report. This can change laws, budgets, hiring, access, and representation. It can move a problem from the waiting room to the agenda. But one label can also hide another. That was the point behind Kimberly Crenshaw's idea of intersectionality. Imagine 2 roads. One is marked race, the other is marked sex. A person can be hit by traffic coming from both directions, yet the rulebook may inspect only one road at a time. In Crenshaw's legal example, black women could fall through that gap. Their experience was not always captured by a model built around black men, or by one built around white women. The intersection is not a scoreboard of suffering. It is a warning about bad filing systems. If the drawer has only one label, some real cases will not fit. So far, identity politics looks like a better map. It adds the roads that official maps ignored. And then comes the trouble. A map is useful because it leaves things out. A map is dangerous when you forget that it left things out. The first failure begins when a category becomes a complete biography. The label says worker. The crowd hears one opinion. The label says immigrant. The crowd imagines one story. The label says religious. The crowd predicts an entire ballot. Now the person is no longer carrying the label. The label is carrying the person. Psychologists call part of this process a social categorization. We sort people into groups, compare us with them, and often favor our own side under surprisingly thin conditions. Real political identities are not created by a coin flip. They carry history, culture, threat, status, and memory. But the sorting habit is still there. Once a group feels like us, facts about them arrive wearing a suspicious little hat. The second failure is the representative trap. Shared experience can give someone valuable knowledge. It does not turn them into a spokesperson for millions of strangers. No group contains one opinion. No identity comes with a pre-installed political program. Yet public arguments often demand exactly that. One person is asked to speak for the whole group. Another is told their disagreement proves betrayal. The room develops a purity gate. To enter, you must have the correct label. To remain, you must also have the correct conclusions. That is not representation. It is a very small customs office for the human mind, and it creates a nasty incentive. Leaders gain attention by making the border brighter. Media gains drama by filming the loudest guard. Opponents gain an easy target by pretending the guard represents everyone. Soon, the most rigid version of the identity gets the microphone. The third failure appears when several identities line up on the same political border. Imagine every name tag in town drifting into one of two giant boxes. Religion joins region. Region joins race. Race joins party. Lifestyle joins news channel. Even the preferred shape of a truck somehow picks a side. Political scientists call this social sorting. The boxes become mega-identities. A policy disagreement now feels like an attack on your people, your home, and your moral worth. Researchers describe the extreme version as political sectarianism. The other side is not merely wrong. It becomes alien, dishonest, and dangerous. At that point, winning matters more than the leaking roof. The buckets overflow while both teams design better name tags. There is another danger inside the helpful side of recognition. Being seen matters. Respect matters. Whose story appears on the wall matters. But recognition can become a substitute for redistribution. The library installs a beautiful poster about inclusion. The pipe is still broken. The staff photo changes. The wage does not. The speech becomes perfect. The ramp, clinic, school, or bus never arrives. This does not make recognition fake. It means symbols and material rules do different jobs. A politics that fixes only the poster leaves people standing in water. A politics that talks only about the pipe can also miss who is always handed the bucket. The hard part is keeping both in the frame. At this point, critics often talk as if identity politics belongs to one tribe. It does not. Nationalism is identity politics. Religious politics can be identity politics. Class politics can become identity politics. So can appeals to real citizens, ordinary taxpayers, working families, or people from places like this. The labels change, the engine does not. Build a we, name a shared injury or threat. Point toward power. A border appears around them. The phrase is often used selectively, as if one group's identity is political, while another group's is simply normal. Every political camera is standing somewhere, but there are better and worse ways to use the view you have. The answer is not to peel off every label. People cannot organize around problems they are forbidden to name, and pretending not to see a category does not erase the rules built around it. The better move is to keep more than one map available. Ask which identity matters for this problem, and which ones cross it. A tenant and an owner may disagree about rent. They may still share a flooded library. Two religious groups may protect different traditions. They may also share a school, a street, and a fear of arbitrary power. One version of this is called a common in-group identity. A larger circle does not have to erase the smaller ones. It can build a wider we, while keeping useful differences visible. Not one blank name tag, several name tags, plus one table sturdy enough to hold them. That is coalition, not agreement about everything. Agreement about what must be done together. So when identity enters a political argument, ask three small questions. First, does the label reveal a pattern or replace the person? Second, does it change a rule, resource, or institution, or just reward symbolic loyalty? Third, can the coalition grow without pretending its differences disappeared? If the label reveals evidence, connects isolated people, and opens a route to shared action, it is doing useful political work. If it predicts every thought, turns disagreement into treason, and makes the border more important than the problem, the map has become a cage. Now return to the town meeting. The name tags are still there. They should be. The tenants know where the water lands. The caretaker knows where the pipe runs. The wheelchair user knows which entrance is already impossible. The accountant knows what the repair will cost. None of them sees the whole roof alone. So they keep the labels, move the chairs together, and fix the thing above their heads. Identity can tell you why one person was handed the bucket. It cannot tell you everything about the person holding it. A label can help people find the door. The trouble starts when it becomes the wall.